Ladies and gentlemen, my name is TotalBiscuit. It is time for some more gimmickry. Although I'm a little concerned, perhaps, that this one won't go that well. That's nothing unusual, that happens a lot, but in this case, the deck's been doing alright. It actually got me up to rank 15, which indicates to me it's probably going to stop doing alright pretty soon, but we'll see. Okay, so a long time ago in a Hearthstone far, far away, in the early beta, one of the most powerful decks was the Spellpower Rogue. And the principle of that is actually fairly simple. You take rogue spells, which are, by their nature, fairly cheap but also fairly weak, and you buff them up with spell power, which makes them much more effective. And they are one of the best classes to do spell power heavy stuff with. They're not the only one, of course. Spell power warrior actually can work fairly well. You think about it for a second, a lot of the warrior spells are actually fairly low in damage, but also fairly low in cost. Things like a cleave, which would do 2 damage, suddenly end up doing 3 damage. It's pretty cool. Slams, of course, similar kind of idea. Whirlwinds can be buffed up very heavily. But strangely enough, classes like mages that rely quite a lot on magic don't really scale that well with spell power. There's certainly some stuff that does. Arcane Missiles, Arcane Explosion, Frostbolt to some degree, and things like Blizzard and Cone of Cold. But their big damage spells like Pyroblast, Fireballs, and Flame Strikes, maybe not so good with the spell power creatures. Works okay with Shaman as well, and Druid for swipe, it's particularly good, but Rogue is, of course, in my opinion, the ultimate class for that. And this I call the ultimate spell power Rogue. So, in the current meta, there are some Rogue decks that do involve a little bit of spell power. Hafu's got one that uses Malagos, because you drop Malagos down and you suddenly have the ability to backstab instead of 2 damage, you're able to backstab for 7, then things start to change around fairly rapidly. You can combo that with a Sinister Strike for a really good finisher, for instance. That'll do 8 damage. Or combo it up with a Prep, and suddenly you can unleash Eviscerates and all sorts of nasty stuff at your enemy. However, it wouldn't be a gimmick if we just included little elements. No. This is the ultimate spell power rogue. This has every spell power creature in the game. Surprisingly enough, there actually aren't that many. I know, it's kind of shocking, isn't it? If we look it up, we can go to crafting mode here. Oh, we can actually just do this. It's fine. I'll keep forgetting I've got all the cards. If you look up spell power, you actually won't find anything because it's actually under spell damage, strangely enough. If you look for spell damage plus, and you will see that all of the spell power minions are neutrals. All of them. There are no class-specific spell power minions in the game at all. None. Which is a little weird. You'd think that Mage would have some. No, they don't, actually. They've only got things like the Sorcerer's Apprentice, which make the spells cheaper. But what do you got? Well, you've got, of course, your Blood Mage Thalanos, which is used in a lot of decks. You know, not necessarily for the spell damage, but it's nice to have it. It's very cheap, so you can drop it down and then drop a spell, which will be a fairly early game combination that will be more effective than it has any right to be. And, of course, Death Rattles draw a card. You know, it's all around just quite a nice little minion to have. And, of course, Malagos at the other end of the spectrum, which is just the ultimate spell damage creature in the game, and doesn't really get played all that often because it's extremely expensive. So it's fairly rare that you'll get to put him out there, and even if you do, it's often difficult to play a spell along with him, so he can be very easily neutralized by hard removal. Then, of course, you've got your little guys all the way in between. Kobold Geomancer, Dalaran Mage, Ogre Magi, Azure Drake, which of course sees a lot of use in a lot of decks because it's just a very good card in general, and Archmage, which you very rarely see because it's fairly pricey. I quite like it. I like the stat line on it, honestly, but it's pretty hard to argue in most circumstances that an Archmage is preferable to, say, a Boulder Fist Ogre, which is exactly the same cost and gets 2 more attack in trade for 1 spell damage. So often the Archmage is maybe not so great, but it gives a lot of later game staying power to this deck, so it's pretty important to have. Plus, of course, it's a spell damage minion, so we need it. And then, of course, the Ancient Mage, something that most people do not use because it's 4 mana for a 2/5, and for the effect to be super effective, you need 2 minions on the board already, which sometimes isn't going to happen. So he's very situational, but potentially extremely powerful, especially in the late game if you're able to establish some of the tougher creatures on the board, like, say, the Archmage. Alright, let's have a look at what's in the Spell Power Rogue deck then, because obviously we have all of those minions, but what do we combo them with? Well, mostly spells, you might imagine. Backstab, very obvious choice. Sinister Strike. This is extremely useful as a finisher and also for triggering combos like, say, the Eviscerate. You might need the combo for that. Or Head Crack. You need combo for that as well. So you'll want to be playing something that's a little cheaper, and Sinister Strike can be a fantastic finisher. It's even worth playing if you've got just a couple of spell power minions on the board, because that's going to do 5 damage. That's 1/6 of an opponent's health there. So a lot of damage. Blade Flurry. It is, yes, it does benefit from spell damage. It doesn't specifically say that on the card, but it does. So what you've got there is a relatively effective AoE that scales very well with your knife. So your hero power, it would regularly do 1, but if you've got a couple of spell damage minions on the board, it's suddenly going to do 3, which is pretty good. It's a nice little replacement for the whole Deadly Poison Blade Flurry combination. It just relies on you having minions on the board. And of course, if you do this with Malagos, you're pretty much going to kill everything. So it's pretty good. It also does damage to the opponent as well, so it's pretty important as an element to kind of bring your opponent down. Eviscerate, obvious. You need this, quite frankly, anyway, because the one thing this deck doesn't really have is a way to reliably deal with big minions. Eviscerate plus some spell power is usually strong enough to deal with most minions. Not all of them. Not all of them at all. It can be quite difficult to deal with, say, water elementals. You need 2 spell damage minions on the board plus the Eviscerate combo in order to kill that, which is a difficult setup. And some of the really, really tough stuff you may have difficulty dislodging, as this deck does lack hard removal. Shiv. I mean, talk about something that scales with value there. I've got a couple of spell damage minions on the board. That suddenly becomes a 3 damage draw a card for 2, which is ludicrous. Really, really good. Fan of Knives, same principle as Shiv, really. It can't be targeted at the opponent's face, but get a couple of spell damage minions on the board, that's suddenly a 3 damage AoE with a draw card for 3 mana. It's ridiculously good. Headcrack, very underrated. It used to be quite good. It got nerfed into oblivion, that's why. It used to be, I think yeah, I must be right there. I think it was 3 damage to the enemy hero for 3. And then, of course, the combo is you return it to your hand. They have nerfed that, so it's now 2, and you don't see this card getting a lot of use. However, in a spell power deck, this is really, really good, because if you've got spell power on the board, you can consistently damage your opponent on a turn-by-turn basis. And, of course, it scales ridiculously well with Malagos and Ancient Mages. Outside of that, I did throw in a couple of Mogashan Wardens. This is after I pretty much got all of the spells that I wanted that benefit from spell power properly, and I had 2 cards left to play with. And I decided to go with Mogashan Wardens. There's a couple of reasons for this. One of the main reasons is that things like Kobold Geomancers, things like Dalaran Mages, and of course Blood Mage Thalnos are generally not very strong, and they're easily obliterated. If your opponent gets a whiff of what you're doing, he will try and trade to kill your spell power minions. The Mogashan Warden can slow him down, and that's pretty much his entire purpose, to slow him down. He also combos fairly well with the Ancient Mage, because he's got a lot of survivability. So if you've got an Ancient Mage and a Mogashan Warden down, then you can give him a little bit of spell power, he can help out with your spells, and he's also going to be able to stand up to a lot of punishment. So I put him in there. I don't know if that's perhaps the best choice. I think there's a couple of other things we could maybe replace him with, but he's doing fairly well at the moment. Ogre Magi, of course, you know all about this, and then Malagos right at the end. So, is there anything else you could really do with a deck like this? Well, if we have a look at Rogue, well, you could add preps in there. Most of the spells are not really that expensive, so preparation is generally not that handy. Really, you'd only add prep if you wanted to do some really sick combos with Malagos or Archmage, because these are very costly creatures, so you often can't throw everything out in the same turn. You throw out Malagos, you throw out, say, a Sinister Strike, then a Prep, then an Eviscerate, and that's just a huge amount of damage going to your opponent's face there. But I think that it's too situational to justify. You could toss a Deadly Poison in there, because that would combo up quite nicely, not only with Blade Flurry, but just in general to do more damage for extra removal. So you could do that. You could use Conceal, maybe. That would work okay for maybe making your Malagos invisible, to make sure that he doesn't end up taking too much damage or gets targeted by hard removal. Absolutely could do that. Betrayal does not benefit from spell power, so it's not really worth having that. Outside of that, I think that's really kind of all you could do. I mean, if you really wanted, and that would kind of obviously break the gimmick, you could replace Mogashan Wardens with Assassinates. That would be a pretty good way of making sure that you can remove those big, hard-to-kill minions that often require a lot of spells. So, Assassinate would probably be better, although I just like the theme of Mogashan Warden in general, so I've been having a reasonable amount of success with it. It's also quite important to be able to get to the late game and not die. So, you need something to stop your health from hitting 0, because you can actually safely sit behind a taunt with some spell power minions and just attack the face with spells, and it's actually very effective. So, let's give it a shot. Let's see how it works out. As you can see, I've taken this deck to rank 15, so it's not awful, but I imagine that it's going to have some problems, especially against the really strong meta decks. But You'd be surprised. A Zoo Warlock is going to be very shocked when he suddenly loses his entire 6-creature line to a double spell-powered Blade Flurry or something along those lines. Okay, right, we're gonna... So, we always toss the head cracks. Why? Because you're never going to use this in the early game. Absolutely not. You're not going to be able to combo into it. It's ultimately a waste of a card. You want this later on, because this is actually going to be your bread and butter in some circumstances. So you want to toss that. Obviously, you want to keep a backstab. We're getting Eviscerate. I mean, this is pretty good. We're not allowed to establish early spell power, which kind of sucks, but we do have a turn 4 option for it, so it's not the worst. I like the Shiv there very much so. That means I'm going to hopefully be drawing into stuff that's more useful. The deck actually has a decent amount of card draw in it. It does have the Shivs. It does have the Thalnos. And, of course, it has the Fan of Knives. So that's pretty good. Okay. Well, not brilliant. I was hoping for better than that. I think we're just going to have to leave that, unfortunately, for the time being. I don't know. I can backstab Knife, actually. It's a Hunter. It's really not worth letting him have a Beast on the board. There's too many possibilities. Like, he keeps that alive, he suddenly throws down a Houndmaster, you're in a lot of trouble. He buffs it up with a Timberwolf, you're in a lot of trouble. He combos it with a Hyena, you know how it goes. A lot of beast synergy, so don't allow them to establish it early on. I don't mind taking 2 damage. Okay, so he's going to Flare to draw a card here. Which is fine. Obviously, I don't have any secrets, so Flare's not actually too big a threat. Stone Tusk Boar coming out. Alright, well, obviously we're just going to kill that as well. The question is, how do I want to kill it? Ah, there's the head crack. Don't want that. We could Shiv it for another card, or we can just stab it with the knife. As I said, the Shiv is quite useful later on because it can do the extra damage when buffed up. So I think we're just going to kill it with the knife for the time being and get a new set of knives out. I don't see any real need to use the Shiv yet. I prefer to use it later on. I do have a turn 4 play, which is great. I'm just hoping he doesn't have a good turn 4. We'll see. It should hopefully give me the opportunity I need to establish some spell power. Oh, he's flaring again. Okay, cool. That's actually great that he got his flares early on, I suppose, in my opinion. Because he's using up mana, and of course he didn't have the cards he needed. So this is a decent enough start. We have taken 6 damage, of course, so that kind of sucks. But I am not going to take a swing yet. I don't really see the point. I'm going to be using a lot of mana over the next few turns, and if I need to use a Blade Flurry, I'd rather have my knife there. So I'll just keep a hold of it. 1 damage is not going to make that much difference at the moment. Alright. Okay, so I've got a 4-4 body on the board, which is great. If he doesn't follow that up, I'll follow it with a second 4-4. Absolutely. It's tracking. Wow, he's really searching his deck. I have to wonder what he's searching for exactly. He's used a flare and... 2 flares, actually, and a tracking. So he will probably be able to get the hand that he wants, which is actually a bit disturbing. I mean, look at it. He's got 17 cards in his deck to my 23. He's able to pop out whatever he wants. Oh, a Huffer. Okay. Alright, I guess that's fine. It's a little annoying, like it's a slight trade-up, but I'm just going to play another one. There we go. Let's see what he comes up with. I was hoping he'd break out a Leok or something like that. Would have been much easier to deal with, but no, that's just the RNG of the Animal Companion. You can get some nice stuff. Starving Buzzard, okay. This is a potential opportunity here. This is a definite opportunity. I think I'd Fan of Knives here. Oh, he's playing Timberwolf as well. This is absolutely amazing. Okay. So, he's obviously going to draw some cards. Hunter's Mark coming out. Okay. Well, he can't kill it this turn, so it actually doesn't matter. Well, now he's going to be very sad, because of course we're going to use Fan of Knives. We're going to get a card, and we're going to kill 3 minions. It is just disgusting. There we go. I wish I had 1 more mana. I'd put the Mogashan Warden down. As it stands, I don't, so I'm just going to head crack. There we go. And then we can hit him in the face. Awesome. Great, so we have a card advantage, we have a board advantage, and now we have a health advantage. So that's the kind of power, spell power. Oh, it's really, really good. It buffs up previously unthreatening cards. Although even that was still, in my opinion, not a brilliant play. Because, like, you're playing against a rogue that hasn't used a Fan of Knives yet. You probably want to consider not dropping those weak creatures on the board. Although, that said, maybe he was considering Fan of Knives. No, I can't see how he could have. Like, he knew the spell power. So, I think maybe it was a bit of a questionable play. Alright, well, we have a lot of spells. So, we should be able to answer almost everything he's got. And I think now we can start to do a little bit of damage there. Having double head crack in the hand is not brilliant for obvious reasons, because you want to combo it, but it's useful for a finisher. I mean, if you look at what I've got in my hand, the amount of damage I can unleash on him is pretty high. But, unfortunately, I don't have spell power to really give that the extra whammy it needs. I can do things like Shiv into double Eviscerate, which would do 9 damage. So if I can get him down to low enough, I should just be able to burst him. Okay, Savannah Highmane. This is where things start to get a little bit tricky. So I really could use Spellpower next turn. Then I can go other than Eviscerate to kill that off. That will be great. We're going to get any? Ah, there we go. Nice. That's what I like to see. Okay. We can either do that or we can just try and kill him. And it might be worth just trying to kill him. I got to admit. So we could go Eviscerate into a head crack for 8 damage. We're pretty safe this turn unless he has another Hunter's Mark. And then we could just try and nuke him down from there. It's difficult. Like, you've got to find the right balance between control and aggro with a deck like this, because you have a lot of burst potential, but your creatures aren't that strong. So you want to prevent him establishing too much presence on the board and just rolling over you, but simultaneously, if you think you have an opening to unleash a lot of damage, you probably should. I mean, I could do 10 damage to him this turn. Obviously, I'd rather hold on to the Eviscerate just in case he brings out something even more powerful. Eviscerate Headcrack might be the right option. It's like, I don't know, it's a hard decision. Okay, let's get a bit aggro. Why not? There we go. And there's the Headcrack. I'm going to keep 1 charge just in case I need to Blade Flurry. I'm going to trust in my Mogashan Warden, and then we'll see if we can kill him next turn, which I think we can, assuming my Dalaran Mage stays alive. So what is it? 5 on the Abyss, assuming that I can combo it. Oh, multi-shot. Well, that doesn't kill that yet. I wonder if he has another answer. Timberwolf. Okay, let's unleash the Hounds. Ouch. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty painful. So I will lose my Dalaran Mage by the looks of it, unless he wants to go for the face, which he doesn't. Okay. Oh, well, that's a little annoying. We'll see what we can do, though. A Sinister Strike as well. Can I kill him? So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Can I play all of that? Yeah, that's actually lethal. GG. There we go. So it seems like the aggro was definitely the right call. Hard to argue with that. There we go. GG. Sweet. It's hard to argue with that result, really. And he wasn't really able to establish. He was getting to the point where he would have been a big threat, but I was able to kill him before that happened, so that worked out pretty well. Cool. Let's try and do that again. So I didn't really demonstrate much control there, but honestly, that's kind of the cool thing about this gimmick, is that sometimes you can just go all out. I haven't really demonstrated too much spell power yet. I mean, it's just kind of reasonably strong on its own against certain plays. The real problem it's got is if your opponent is playing a lot of kind of big, strong, sticky bodies on the board. I have real problems with Ramp Druid, for instance. Like, I've run into those a few times. I pretty much lose. It's like, oh, he's dropped an Ancient War. Well, I might as well GG then, because I can't kill that. Like, not without using a lot of spells. Okay, we're going to toss Sinister Strike. You don't really need this early game. Again, you want to use this as a finisher. Eviscerate is always nice. We're going to hold on to the Ogre Magi for possible turn 3 play, and then we'll see what else we get. A Geomancer. Very cool. Okay. This could be quite important, because we don't know what kind of Warlock this is. Fan of Knives is going to be potentially crucial to make sure that we don't lose. The question is, do I want to coin the Geomancer? And he didn't have a Flame Imp or a Voidwalker. It can be a bit risky to coin the Geomancer, because I don't have a turn 2. I do have a turn 2. I've got an Eviscerate. And Knives, potentially. Alright, let's just do it. The problem is potentially losing the Geomancer before I can use the Fan of Knives. So there's this one turn which is kind of crucial. If he just life taps, I'm great. I'm golden. And he's life tapping. Fantastic. Good. So I don't have to worry. So the Geomancer gets to stay on the board, which is fantastic. And we'll go with 1 stab. Against a Warlock in particular, it's important to really pour a lot of damage on them early, because it makes them less willing to do things like life tap. I wonder if he's going for the Twilight Drake. If he taps again, I think he's probably got a Twilight Drake. If he does, that's a real problem. Killing Twilight Drakes with this deck is very difficult. As I said, you just don't have the hard removal for it. You've got to save. I probably will hold on to the Eviscerate just in case he does. He's thinking about playing something, though. I kind of hope he does, because if it's a bunch of weak stuff, then Fan of Knives is going to be amazing. But I can't imagine he would play a bunch of weak stuff against that. Does he have the Drake, is the question. Well, I've got my own Drake, which is always nice. I think this turn we're just going to stab, get more knives, take him down to 20. You know, take a third of his health off before he's able to play a minion. It's not too bad. I think we are about to get hit with a Drake, though. I don't think there's any doubt. So this Eviscerate is going to be crucial. Unfortunately, I can't combo. There it is. Oh, 4-9. I can combo into it, but it's not going to be a good combo. It's like I can Blade Flurry. I can hit it for 1, Blade Flurry it for 2, Eviscerate it for 5. So that's... My basic mathematics is apparently failing me. Yeah. 1, 2, 5. I can kill it. It's just, it's going to be a bit of a dedication. And I think we have to. We have to commit to it. We can't have that thing on the board. We just can't. So, yeah. Yeah, I think we have to go with that way. I'm hoping my mathematics is correct here, right? It's got to be. And we do some more damage to him too, which is always nice. If I had one more Spellpower, I could kill it outright without trading my Geomancer, but such is the way of life. Alright, so we had to burn a lot to get rid of that, which is really unfortunate, but you can't just let that sit around. That thing would be slapping my Ogre Mages around, my Azure Drakes around. It's not an option. You can't do it. That's one of the big weaknesses, again, with this deck, that you just can't handle those well. If he drops another one, I'm in serious trouble. Obviously, he can't drop it this turn, but... he's got to drop something, otherwise he's actually going to burn a card. He's playing the Iron Beak. Alright. Well, I'm not going to complain too much about that. That's an easy kill. But the question is, what do we want to do? Do we want to draw again? Do we want to play an Azure Drake? Here's the thing. If I kill this... I don't know, I could use Fan to kill. But I don't know. I think I do want to draw more stuff that I can hit him in the face with, honestly. Because he's already on half health. So I want to keep him pretty low. So I think I'm going to Fan for draw. And that gets me my other Eviscerate, which I think is pretty important. And then we'll hit him in the face. Okay. So the way that he's playing at the moment, it seems like he's playing a handlock deck. So my fear is he's going to drop like a bunch of giants on me. And if he does that, I'm in serious trouble. And the only way to deal with it is to rush him down. So I need to be as aggressive as possible. I think even killing the Drake early on may have been a mistake. It might have been better just to hit him in the face. Just throw everything I have at him. But I wasn't thinking straight. Like, the way that he's playing, yeah, it's almost certainly a handlock. But he's had to drop an Argus. Like, he can't have his giants or anything, surely. If he's doing stuff like that. I mean, otherwise he'd be dropping things like mountain giants immediately. Okay, well, I mean, it's good for me, definitely. And I think we'll want to play the Azure Drake here. And do we want a Sinister Strike? Does he have his giants? He probably would have played at least one of them by now if he did. He had the mana for it. Maybe he just wants to wait for 0, but I don't know. Doesn't seem to be going massively well for him, but I'm a bit scared. I think... Ooh, I don't know. I think at this point, with a Head Crack, a Sinister Strike, and an Eviscerate in hand, we go for the kill. Obviously, we can't do that right now, but I think... Do I want to Sinister Strike him? I think we want to save up for just a big Unleash. If he's got Molten Giants, I want to make it difficult to play them both. I don't want to let him play both of them on the same turn. Soulfire. So he's going to discard something. He loses his other Silence. Okay, that's decent news for me. And he's down to 13 now. So he could play... If he had a Molten Giant, he could play. He's healing himself. It might not be a Giants deck. I don't know. It smells like one. From what I can tell. Alright, well, rushing him down now is not maybe much of an option, but I could just wait for the Malagos setup, and I probably will. I think we'll throw the Ogre Magi down. I'm still tempted to hit him in the face really hard. I could Fan of Knives and then use a knife to kill the 3/3. It's not an awful idea. Gets me a card too, so maybe I pull like my other Sinister Strike or something like that. There we go. I don't have a Blade Flurry, so having a knife up is not too important. Okay, I just want to make it a bit more difficult for him to kill off that 4/4. He might have another Soulfire. I don't want to hit his face just yet. Because just with the amount of cards and the ways... I knew it! I knew it! And he loses Mortal Coil. I wish he'd lost something more important. Okay. Alright, well, this is obviously a big problem. The question is, can I kill him before he kills me? So he's going to be playing Giants. And I need to murder him right now. How much damage can I do in one turn? So if I drop the Dalaran Mage, that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And that would be 6 mana, leaving me with 2. I can go with 10 for a stab, or I could kill his 2-1. Tricky, tricky. Okay. Yeah, let's go all out, because there's no point sticking all my spells into his giant, because he's got other giants, right? If this is the deck I think it is, then he's got other giants. So, it would be suboptimal to do that. Do I want a Sinister Strike? I think I want a Head Crack, because I want to combo it. And I want to hold on to the Sinister Strike. If I last 2 turns, I can go Malagos Sinister Strike, and then he's dead. So, we'll do that. So, let's see what else he's got. I mean, he can do 10 damage to me this turn, guaranteed. He's burned both his Soulfires. He can now play another giant. Maybe he's got a Leroy. Oh no. Oh, I hate you. That maybe was the worst thing ever. That is the most handlocky thing ever. Oh, wow. That's just horrible. Ouch. Such is the mysteries of the handlock, folks. Almost had him. Almost. Could I have beaten him? I don't know. He probably had all of those cards in his hand anyway. Maybe if I had done more damage to him earlier, I might have been able to kill him. It just means, though, he would have got a giant out earlier. And probably comboed it with a Defender of Argus. It's hard. I don't know. It's a very good deck. There's a reason why handlock is legend rank deck. Okay, this is not brilliant against a mage. I don't like the Thalnos for obvious reasons. We'll toss the Thalnos and see what else we get. Okay, that was really bad. I was hoping for anything but that. Something I could have played would have been nice. Oh, Geomancer, alright, okay. So we're sitting on Malagos if we can last till the late game, which is questionable against a mage. We'll see. Okay. Argent Squire. I hate Argent Squire. It's like, next turn it's just, oh, I trade my thing and the Fire Blast for your Geomancer. Like, no, don't do that. I think we'll just take its shield down. Don't really want to backstab it, because I think that there's something more threatening coming this turn that I would prefer to backstab, and I can combo that with a Geomancer, so I can pretty much kill anything you can play on turn 2, I think. Pretty much, yeah? Sounds about right. Almost. I don't know, if it played a Dalaran Mage, I couldn't backstab that to death, but... Coin into Harvest Golem. Right, well that's a little annoying. I was like, yes, I can backstab it down, I just don't want to, because it... I guess it's fine. There we go. Irritating. The most value of cards. There we go. We get it out of the way, but he now kills my Geomancer, but next turn I play Ogre Magi, so it's not too bad. If he for some reason ignores my Geomancer, then Mogashan Warden goes up, but, like, he's not going to do that. That would be silly. There we go. Of course. I also need to get out of the habit of clicking those cards off the screen, because I realize there's people maybe new to Hearthstone that don't know what these cards actually do, that might want to look at them, so... Stop clicking them off the screen. Okay, I'm going to put my cursor down here, out of the way. I'm going to let him play those cards, and you can see exactly what they do. There you go. And now I'm upset that I... ooh, okay. Blade Flurry. Blade Flurry? Yes? Seems like a bit of a waste of a Blade Flurry, but it's ultimately 1 for 1, isn't it? So, I suppose... I mean, that's a big threat. Gotta get rid of that. I don't want to use my Eviscerate. And that leaves my 4-4 alive on the board to hit him in the face. So I think that was the right move. It's maybe a bit weird to use an AoE to kill one minion, but he invested a lot into that guy. He wanted that to do damage and it didn't, so I think that's fairly important. And that means I can maybe get my other Ogre Magi on the field, and I can maybe start to go for the face a little bit. But the other important thing about getting the other Ogre Magi on the field is that I can kill that! That is exactly why we get the other Ogre Mage out on the field against a mage. That is the most infuriating creature against this deck. Thankfully, double Spellpower Eviscerate kills it outright. So that's really good. And he's used his coin, which means if he was going to Flame Strike, he can't do that till next turn, so I can do a lot more damage to him, hopefully. He may decide to start burning premium removal, like Fireballs or like Polymorphs on my 4/4s. That would be amazing if he did. That would be absolutely fantastic. Although he might also not, we'll see. I kind of have to play around the... Oh, there we go, Polymorph, okay. I'm fine with that. That's pretty much his whole turn removing a 4/4. Great. And it makes the Flame Strike less value if he decides to play it. So what do I want to do? Do I want to play the Mogashan Warden and the Headcrack? I could. Or I could play the Archmage. I like the Archmage. I really do. There we go. Yeah, I like the Archmage. That's really hard to get rid of. That's a very powerful creature. If he's got a Fireball or another Poly, of course that goes down. But if I am able to bait out his other Polymorph, then that means Malagos is going to be basically unstoppable. So I'm okay with that. I haven't taken too much damage yet. He has no board presence. I think things are going alright. They seem to be. Another Argent Squire. And a Harvest Golem. Let's play all the cards. And there's the Taunt. Okay, well that's fairly annoying. Ooh, fun. Okay. Yeah. We have not had a chance to demonstrate the powers of the Ancient Mage. We're going to demonstrate the powers of the Ancient Mage with this 6 damage head crack. Yeah, that seems like the way to go. Bam. 6 damage head crack. Out of nowhere. Okay. That's a problem. That's a real problem. Okay, let's get these guys out of the way, shall we? Who do we want to take damage on the most? And obviously, I don't mind him taking damage. That's fine. Well, I do mind him taking damage, but it's got to be done. Alright. There we go. So, we've got fairly tough bodies on the board. He could Flame Strike, though. And he probably will. Which would be fairly annoying. But, I mean, ultimately, you've got to try and kill him, right? You can't tiptoe around that if he's going to flood the board. And it looks like he might not have one. Otherwise, I think he'd be doing that immediately, because that would allow him to clear the board completely. With fairly cheap minions, too. But I don't think he's got it. In which case, he's in a lot of trouble. Obviously, he's dead next turn if he can't answer that. He can kill off my... He could commit his entire board to killing my 4/5. Or he can trade a couple of minions in to kill my Ogre Mage. Which is exactly what he's going to do. Okay, so I lose 2 spell power, which kind of sucks. And that's his other Poly. And now he's going to hate life, because Malagos is here. And I don't think a mage has any other way of dealing with that. Kona Cole coming out as well. He really is burning his hand in desperation, isn't he? Okay. Alright, well. Time to upset him greatly. There we go, that's the real essence of Magic, ladies and gentlemen, and that is a 7 damage head crack in the chamber. Ready to rock and roll. It's a shame we don't have any other spells. Chillwind Yeti would have been much better earlier. That would have been hard to deal with. Okay, that secret could be a problem. Obviously need to make sure what it is. Could be counterspell. I'm going to run the 2/3 into it to see if it's a vaporize. Okay, I guess we're supposed to try and kill him. And he dies. Alright. Well, I don't know what that secret was, and we frankly will never know, because he took the secret to his grave. Sweet. That went fairly well. It's always nice to have Malagos on the board. It's pretty hard to complain about his effectiveness there. Let's queue up again. It's been going fairly well, which means I'm about to get whacked repeatedly by meta decks. I can guarantee it. Oh man, we're almost at rank 14. That scares me. That scares me greatly. It's interesting deck, I've got to admit. And don't get me wrong, it's probably one of the more effective gimmicks. Like, it's a principle that is used in highly competitive play, just not to this extreme, right? So, people know that, hey, Spellpower with Rogue is kind of good. Obviously, they don't put everything in, including Ancient Mage, but... yeah, so there is a degree of success. It's kind of the same reason why something like High Ping or the... what was the other one that did pretty well? The Ultimate Too Many Traps Hunter, or the Admiral Akbar deck, as people have dubbed it, was pretty effective too. because traps on a hunter is generally pretty good. They combo quite nicely. They synergize quite nicely. All right, well, we have everything in the kitchen sink here, don't we, except for a minion, so we're actually going to toss and eviscerate, as weird as it sounds. And that was a good decision, because we got a Geomancer and a backstab out of that, which is just great. So we have everything we need in hand to deal... Oh my god, we got the other backstab as well. Okay. So we'll be using these liberally to keep the board clear. But what is, of course, important is that we're able to get some more stuff on the board. He might have a backstab. He doesn't. Okay. Right. So he's going to try and get that off the board as quickly as he can. That tempts me to throw a shiv at his face, and I think I probably will, because I need the draw right now. Yeah. I need the draw. I need more cards to get on the board immediately. This allows me to establish a health and card advantage, so we're going to do that. Now, and if he wants to throw himself at it again, he is more than welcome to do it. He'll probably just Fan of Knives or... I mean, he can't SI7. He can... Oh, he can shiv. Okay, yeah. That's also the same. He's going to get a card out of it one way or the other. Okay, well, I mean, that's a good start if you look at it, really. I have the same number of cards as he does, and he's 6 health down, so that worked out fairly well. Unfortunately, I don't have a turn 3. That's where the deck kind of stutters a little bit. If you don't have a Dalaran Mage, the chances are you're not actually going to have a 3-drop that you can really use. So that's unfortunate, but it's okay. It's not too bad. We've got Mogashan, Warden, and Azure Drake on the way. Unfortunately, he did just play Acolyte of Pain, which was maybe the one thing I didn't want him to play. Oh! That is a top deck and a half. That allows me to remove that while only having him draw 1 card, which is phenomenal. Great. That is hard to complain about. Now, I could eviscerate the face for 5, but I'd rather hold on to it, I think, and just stab him a little bit. There we go. So he draws a card. That was inevitable. There's nothing in my deck that would stop him from drawing a card. I don't have any silence. I don't have anything that would remove it without him taking damage. So it's fine. Getting rid of it for 1. Oh, he used an eviscerate on a 2/2. Okay. All right. Well, I'm pretty happy with that. And he combos to the face. I have Azure Drake. I wish I had a Dalaran Mage because I'd be able to get... I can still get rid of it anyway. I can backstab, knife, and then Azure Drake. But I'm an idiot. I can just Azure Drake and backstab. Like, just remember what your deck does. There you go. You moron. It's like, this is really complicated because the SI7 agent plus a knife could kill the 4/4. But oh yeah, it's got Spellpower on it. That works pretty well. Okay, cool. Gadget Sun Auctioneer, and that's why, of course, we hold on to things like Eviscerate. Oh, Prep. Okay, is it a Miracle Rogue? Oh, he's sapping it. I mean, that's kind of cool, I guess. Yeah, I think that's going to get eviscerated immediately. Screw that. I don't want him to do any more with it. I'm hoping he doesn't have another spell. Please no Conceal. No Conceal? That it? That all you're getting out of him? Hope so. I mean, so far, the deck is definitely being fairly Miracle-esque. It looks like that, so we do have to watch out for that. Okay, well, I think in this situation... we obviously want to eviscerate him. I can't... if I could dump 2 Spellpower minions on the board and just go with that, that would be great, but... I think Mogashan Eviscerate is probably the way to go here. So I want to make sure he doesn't have any Leroy nonsense coming my way. This is a good way to hold that off for the time being. We're going to hold on to the knife as well, because we might need a Blade Flurry. Blade Flurry is 1 mana cheaper than Fan of Knives, so it's good to drop like Azure Drake, Blade Flurry, things like that. SI7 coming out, alright. Which, of course, is not a combo. He wasn't able to do that, so he seems to be stuttering a little too, which is really good news for me. And a Thalnos, that is interesting. I wish I had another Spellpower minion. That's going to take all of my Spellpower to... all of my mana to bring that down, which is not brilliant. Depends if I want to take more damage. I could drop the... I could drop the Thalnos and then go Fan of Knives. And then just stab it. I mean, I'm pretty high on health. I could probably deal with that. I'm not 100% convinced that that's the correct play, though. I actually don't know. The other option is Azure Drake, which gets me a card. Blade Flurry for 2, and then use the Mogashan to finish it off. That still leaves you with a 1/4 taunt. Yeah. Okay. And I get a Dalaran Mage as well. Okay, so we can drop some really nasty stuff next turn. So I think this ended up being the right call. That obviously deals some damage to him too, and then we just take him out. There we go. So that leaves us with a protected 4/4 on the board. and a fairly bruised but otherwise functional Mogashan Warden. So what does he come up with now? His other gadgets on. Alright, so we need to deal with that. Will we have enough spell power? Ooh, he's stealthing too. We will have enough spell power if he doesn't kill my 4/4. He might be very upset here. I'm hoping he's very upset. This is looking good. Uh-oh, backstab. Well, he can't Blade Flurry. So I don't... Yeah, I mean, he can't kill that this turn. He can't kill any of that this turn. Okay, alright. This is where things start to get really interesting. Okay, so Dalaran Mage, Blood Mage Thalnos, and the infamous 4 damage Fan of Knives, screw you and your Gadget-san sodding auctioneer play. There we go. Now he's in trouble. Now he is in trouble. But Blade Flurry is coming. I can feel it in my bones. If he's got 1 spell power, then my entire board explodes. If he can't clear this turn, he's dead. So he's going to have to do something. And I'm on 27 health, so no amount of miracle is going to save him here. I think he's burned both of his preps? Maybe 1. There's the Blade Flurry, so that kills a lot of my stuff. Gets me a draw. Cold Light Oracle. Okay, he's fishing. But that gives me stuff too, so that's okay. And he's going to kill my 1/1, of course. Alright, so he's down to 12. Do I have lethal? Probably not. He's mad. He's going for the face. Alright. I think he's trying to burn me down. He hasn't used any Shadow Steps. I need to kill him. I do have another Mogashan, which is okay. I don't think I can kill him. Not this turn. So, what a... Roar in my hand, I've got 3, 7, 9, 10. Can I do all of that and Dalaran Mage? Because then he's dead, right? So that's what, 3... Yeah, I think he's dead. Let me just make sure I'm right here. 4, 9, 10, 11, 12. GG, yeah. There we go. And that is 1 dead Miracle Rogue. Sweet. Ha-ha! Spellpower Rogue Superior. Oh, I gotta admit, I was kind of lucky to have the combination I needed to kill the Stealth Gadget on. If that had gone on 1 more turn, that would have been really bad. And that would have been, hey, I'm going to draw my entire deck for the Leroy Shadow Step, Leroy Shadow Step, Leroy nonsense, which we have prevented from happening. Good. And another miracle bites the dust, and that is good for everybody. Trust me. We're doing a public service here. Alright, we're going to roll 1 more, and then I think that's going to be that for the day. I'm surprised how well this is working, honestly. Very surprised. Things are just kind of rolling the way that they should be. I still have not been able to unleash the most horrendous head cracks ever. The best I've done for head crack with this deck is a 12, which required Ancient Mage, Malagos, and a bunch of spell power. And that was hilarious. Oh, a Paladin, okay. Alright, this could suck. It's like, hey, a lot of Divine Shield. That's really good against what you got. It's like, yes it is, please don't have it. Alright, we're gonna toss the Ancient Mage. We don't want that till later. We're getting Eviscerate. Okay, so we got no minions yet, which is... Obviously, I don't have any minions I could really drop on the first turn, so it's not too bad that I start off with no minions, because I'll get 2 more draws. But it's still nice to have something like a Geomancer or a Dalaran Mage in your hand, so that you know, hey, I can play something early on. Dalaran Mage is particularly good against these nasty little 1/1s that the Paladins tend to throw out. And that's not brilliant. Okay, so it's just knives right now. And we have that Blade Flurry there. So he has the coin. Let's see what he comes up with. If he comes up with anything. It's just going to be a reinforce. Alright. Well, that's fine. 1 cancels out the other there, really. And he's coining into a Young Priestess. That's an interesting move. I mean, he's just coining into something that I can immediately kill. It's a... I don't know about that. Not 100% convinced. I think, obviously, we just kill it. But... we don't really have a follow-up. Like, I could backstab it? Do I really want to backstab a 1/2? Not really. It's not going to do much. This is going to be, like, the worst, isn't it? He's going to... Well, he doesn't have coin now, so he can't Blessing of Kings until next turn, but I could just see some horrible Paladin nonsense coming out of this. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, now that's something we don't want. Like I said, getting rid of that stuff is a little bit difficult. For obvious reasons. I think we'll throw down the Mogashan. Don't want to break it. Do I want to take 3 more damage? Yeah, I want to break it. Get rid of it. Do we backstab? It's still 3-1. I mean, we have a strong taunt up, though. I think it's worth waiting. What can you really do? Follow the rules? He's already 1-7. He's already following the rules. Mogashan Warden is a model citizen, as you can probably tell. I don't know, maybe... Oh, he's got True Silver Champion. Okay, so he does have a way of getting rid of it, but not without killing his 3-1. So, I'm okay with that. That's not too bad. That's fine. And he's used the charge of that already. It does mean, of course, that things like Azure Drake are not really an option right now. Well, they are, but you just don't want to play them. It's like, urgh. And it really becomes a question of patience. Like, do you try and outlast him, or what? I think we will now use the backstab. I just want rid of this guy now. I think we just... We waited out 1 more turn so we can play Archmage. Rather than just feeding him an Azure Drake for no reason. This might be a mistake. He may also get impatient. He may go for the face with that. I've seen plenty of Paladins just get really aggro. Of course, there's a couple of Paladin variants currently in the metagame that are played at a competitive level. Shockadin being one of them, but I don't think he's playing that. I don't know. I don't know anything about Paladin decks. I've run into enough Rogues to recognize a Miracle Rogue deck. I've run into enough Warlocks to recognize the difference between Handlock and Zoo, but I don't know much about Paladins, so... I don't know if he's playing a strong meta deck or if he's just playing a deck that he made. We'll see. Hard to say. So I don't know how he's going to act, what he's going to do with this sword, whether or not he's just going to go for the face and try and be aggressive. But, again, I don't want to give him a free Drake for no reason. It's another Young Priestess. And an Argent Protector. Okay, well, we'll stab that, obviously, and we can play the Archmage too, so... Oh, now we can't. Well, of course we can. Never mind. Of course we can. And then we just get rid of that. It does mean that Young Priestess is going to stay alive for a little while. Which I don't really like. I'm tempted to take the shield down. I think... I don't know. I'm taking, like, nasty little bits of damage here. Take it down. Leave it open for potential Blade Flurry next turn if he decides to flood the board. I can't imagine that he will. I think what's probably going to happen is he takes a swing at it and then uses his board to kill my 4-7, which I'm pretty much fine with. Yep, that's what he's going to do. Unless he has a Hammer of Wrath, which he doesn't. Okay. Is it Hammer of Justice or Hammer of Wrath? I can't remember. Why must you keep protecting that? Oh, man. Okay, he has a Sword of Justice, though. This actually could be a massive problem. Thankfully... we did just pull a bunch of nasty spell power. Is it enough to kill everything? No. But we can get close. Do I want to really... I don't want to eviscerate that. I don't. It feels wrong, but I don't think I have a choice. This is strange. I haven't played against a deck like this before, so I'm not actually 100% sure on how to act. Obviously, we kill the 2-1, but we want rid of this. I just wanted to do it with a Shiv if possible, and it's not, because he got buffed up 1. It would be possible if I took a swing at it, but then I take another 3 damage, which I don't like. And that stuff is starting to add up. AoE is not going to do the trick, I don't think. That's just going to do... Actually, it will. Like, do I want to take another 3 damage to just AoE what he's got? I don't... No, I don't! I really don't. But I think it's probably the best way to play this. Play that. Ogre Mage... No! I'm 1 mana short! Damn! That was completely wrong. Oh, I've miscalculated. 1 mana short of the Blade Flurry. Okay. Well, this is not brilliant. So he can run the 3-4 into my 4-4 and then maybe take a swing with his Sword of Justice. I don't know. It's not a brilliant position to be in, but it's not awful. I've still got some decent stuff in my hand. We'll see. It's just a really unusual deck that I'm not used to facing. I don't run into that many Paladins, honestly. It's mostly just people net decking Warlocks and Rogues. Maybe the occasional Hunter, but... This is a bit odd. Oh my god. That is terrible news. Oh. Well, we are in a lot of trouble, aren't we? Absolutely. I think we lose this. I don't have an answer for this big stuff. This needs to die immediately. obviously. So I think we have to Shiv, Eviscerate, Trade. At least we get a card out of that. And then maybe just, like, hope for the Malagod intervention. I wish I could get enough spell power down to not have to trade this, but it's gonna have to happen. I'm sorry, Geomancer. You served me well. May you find your candles in heaven. Or wherever it is you heretics go. Dalaran Mage? Yeah, probably. We just need to maintain that spell power, but I'm running out of cards. And running out of answers. Like, I've used... Did I use both my Eviscerates? I need a card counter. Apparently there is a program that does that, but I haven't checked it out yet. I can't remember if I used my other Eviscerate. I don't think I did. I've still got some decent stuff in my deck, and this game is going long, which means that Malagos is a massive answer to what he's got, unless he, like, combos equality or whatever. Otherwise, Paladin has not that many ways of dealing with him. But of course, it does involve drawing Malagos, and I've got over half my deck still to go, so... I'm hoping next turn I can drop my Azure Drake, start to get some more cards into my hand, and then maybe re-establish control of this game before it gets out of control. At least I got his Stormwind Champion down. If that had stayed on the board, then you might as well just count yourself out at that point. The Stormwind Champion plus Sword of Justice is ludicrous. Like, you're literally summoning 3/3s. That's not much better, I'll have to admit. That's a 6/7. Oh, Malagos. Thank God you came at the time that I sort of needed you, maybe, but I actually kind of don't want to play him, right? I still do. No, I really do want to play him. And I can't get rid of that. Do I want to play him next turn? Or play him now? Can the Paladin kill him this turn? It's got 12 health, he could do 7. Probably can't. This is kind of, I don't know, this is a bit game-defining. If I mess this up, and if he kills Malagos, I'm probably going to lose the game. But the longer I wait, the more likely it is he'll establish board control, which allows him to kill Malagos in the first place. Not, my Mogashan Warden will die next turn immediately. I've got to play him. I've got to take it. I've got to take the risk. And we just hope that he doesn't have a way of killing that. And if we're able to establish that... Oh, what's that? I don't mind too much. I don't mind that too much. I'm not... Well, I do kind of mind it, because he's gonna take 2 turns to kill Malagos. I don't know, we can throw out the Mogashan Warden. But that... Actually, I can kill his whole board, can't I? Yeah. Knife Blade Flurry does 6 damage and kills everything he's got. So, actually, this is totally fine. No! No! Why would you leave that till last? Oh! You had that the entire time? Well, bollocks. Malagos just got thoroughly owled. This is awful. Alright. Can we somehow salvage this game? I need this guy down to 3 health, which I can't do. Oh, no. Azure Drake's gotta be played, right? We can clear the board. We can still fight from here. Oh, the drama. Alright. So, Fan of Knives clears most. Obviously, we've got to pop this first. How do we want to pop it? Malagos is still a 4/6, even if he doesn't have spell power. He's still fairly powerful. So we oh, alright, so first things first, we do shiv this. Like, that is absolutely going to happen. The question is, how do we pop this shield? Do we pop it with this or that? I think we're going to do it this way. There we go. That's a bit consecrate bait, but he is down to 2 cards. So we may live through this. And no, we didn't. That's a You! Just, what were the chances? You top-decking son of a... Okay, right, we're still in it, okay? We're still in the game. This is not over yet. I will not accept that. We lost our Malagos, but we still have the grand power of the Ancient Mage. We still have the head cracks. I'm pretty sure we still have one Eviscerate. We've definitely got our Sinister Strikes. And we have the Blade Flurry. Good. So I can wipe his... Well, he's going to wipe his own board. Okay. Alright. Time to unleash the real, true potential of the ultimate Spellpower deck. This is how it's going to be. Alright. Are we ready for its true potential? Well, don't play that yet, because that's going to do damage to the face, so every little bit helps. How many Spellpower minions can we play? In all circumstances, just one. So, it will be the Archmage. Wipe the board. Yes! Alright. Okay. The comeback begins. The comeback begins. He has no card draw, he has no board presence, and he is going to hopefully die horribly after neutralizing Malagos. Alright, okay. Here we go. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep. Do we unleash? Damn right we do. Enough of your nonsense! 8 damage Sinister Strike! Yes! 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 If he has another Equality Consecrate, I am gonna cry. He can't, no. I mean, it's statistically almost impossible that he has that combo again. Or he could do the same thing with Wild Pyromancer, but I think I must have got him. Surely I have him now. There's no way he's getting out of this. Right? Okay, Hammer of Wrath. He's drawn. He's drawn. I don't like that. He's going for the face. Wow. That's ambitious. Alright, I need a spell. That is not a spell. I think he's dead anyway, actually. I'm pretty sure I don't need a spell. Look at all this delicious spell power and no spells to use. That is really upsetting. Alright, well, that, of course, is GG. I wanted to allow the Kobold Geomancer to have the finishing blow. We can allow it. We can. There we go. In memory of his fallen brother, he will take vengeance. GG! Wow. That was surprisingly not awful. Oh, there you go. The ultimate Spellpower Rogue, ladies and gentlemen. I will pop the deck list to this up on my Hearthstone page, and I'll put a link to it in the description below this video. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.